So the first part of my Quantic EMBA journey is over, and that is the accounting module. Much fabled, not really that difficult. The accounting module ends with an exam and then a group project. So this is not only the first project inside of Quantic, it's the first kind of group project. Other ones are individual, this one was group. So you hooked up with 2 other people and did the accounting project. This episode is a chat with my accounting project team. It was quite long, and so we've got 2 parts. We've got this part, which is we're going to talk about the accounting project, and we've got another part where we're going to talk about the usual kind of Quantic interview that I do with people, where we talk about the journey. That's going to be the next episode or the episode after. I'll put my chat with them. You know, doing this group project was so much fun, and I really lucked out 2 amazing ladies for my partners, Ruth and Natsumi, and you know, I couldn't really ask for anything better. We complemented each other well in our skills and our kind of approach and everything, but I'll let us all chat about it, and then after the video I'm going to come back and kind of summarize the key takeaways to make sure that you can ace the accounting project in Quantic if you're taking it. See you after the video. Okay, I'll do some other, oh my hair is horrible. I'll do some other introduction later on. I'm very curious to talk about the accounting project and how great we are. Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty shocking stuff.
I took some notes on my phone, so I can just, that as a cheat sheet.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my move my thing over
prepared.
here.
You came
Yeah,
prepared.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Natsumi doesn't leave anything to chance.
Oh.
I like to be prepared, but just the small things. Yeah.
But I mean, it was interesting. I'll just say right off the bat that I thought it was actually easy. The difficult part was not the accounting project. The difficult part was reading the instructions for the accounting project.
Overreading it, right?
Overreading
Thinking there could be questions or something we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, this putting together of the whatever they called it. What's that word? The instructions. I call it the instructions, but they have a fancy word for it. That, and then the FAQ, and then the webinars, and then the Slack questions, and you needed to have all 4. I don't think you could have done it if you didn't have all 4 of those things.
Yeah, and I believe if it's a solo project, right? Imagine the amount of organization work you have to do. So I'm pretty glad that it's a group project.
Yeah.
To be very honest.
Right. And I think we started off really early, right? When there was no information shared, we were already, grouped as one and started talking about what we do. And, having that first meeting was something that was important, right? Getting to understand.
Yeah. Because we had our first meeting before it even started. The time started, I think.
I think when they just released the case study, right? If I remember correctly, because we were trying to choose between A or B. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why I'm so surprised. Yeah, I think the number one thing is you have to start early because you have to find all the instructions.
Yeah, correct.
Because I think once you got the instructions,
I think it's important to start early to find your group too.
Yeah.
Right. You want to have people who are committed and also has the motivation or the same level of motivation to work on this project, right? So I think it was important for us to kind of, hunt for the group.
Yeah, and I mean, we had our group really early, even because I mean, I was still in Canada, and I mean, I
Mhm.
came back from Canada a month ago. So, like, I mean, kind of like day one, they said to look for groups. We found a group. So, I mean, I think that that's also, we were all looking for a group right at the beginning. So, I mean, in a sense, that showed that we were all kind of the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was looking at Natsumi's profile actually. So I was like, okay, I think she looks like a committed individual. So I pinged her at the side, and then I was saying, "Oh, I want to form a group." Then after that,
Yeah.
And I
Phil
mean,
Phil
plus,
came into the picture. Yeah,
there's not a lot of people out here in our time zone, kind of thing.
I think that there are a couple of Singaporeans. It's just that I think we didn't really cross paths somehow. Yeah. So, or maybe I didn't cross paths yet with them. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I think
True.
we're all on Slack as well, and not everybody
yeah,
participates on Slack.
correct. So I think the proactive part really plays a part actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, being proactive to find a group and then being proactive to gather the information from, Slack or wherever that's available, right? Because
Mhm.
the information is everywhere. We have to find the information that we need from multiple different sources. So I think it's just, yeah, I mean, I agree with Ruth that we need to have that proactiveness on in everything we do.
Mm.
And somebody asked me today, they said, "Well, how is your group?" And I said, I said kind of same things. We are similar, but I think we're all a little bit different.
Mhm.
Like, you guys are way more organized than me. I'm I mean, look at my room. I'm disorganized, and so but I have my skills, right? And I think we are complementary in that. And that was just luck in a way, I think.
Mm. And we were willing to contribute. I feel like we didn't mind. We didn't put down anybody. We just contributed and we just go with the flow. And this go with the flow thing, I felt it was very very comforting in a way, because sometimes when you put people together, different culture people together, you don't really get that go with the flow kind of feeling. Yeah,
Hmm.
but in this group, I totally felt it. So it was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one thing I really appreciated is that, Ruth, you shared your upcoming trips to,
Uh,
in your work. So it was easy for us to set the, timelines, right? What
yeah.
do we need to complete by when, and when's our next meeting, and what should we,
Yeah.
do before that. So it helped
Mhm.
us to do better. Just like the any other project that you do at work, right? You have to have that understanding of your schedule,
Timeline, yeah.
deadline, and task management and things like that. So I think
Mhm.
it's we're just doing the project for the EMBA, but I think it's pretty much the same on what
Mm.
we are trying to complete in a project at work.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting as well because like I've spoken to a couple other people. I don't know why people now, because I have this YouTube thing, people feel like they can message me all the time. So I get all these messages on LinkedIn, and they're talking about how their group only managed to meet twice,
Wow.
Uh,
like once at the beginning and once at the end.
Did he
And
manage to balance the books? I mean, I'm really curious, like, how did they manage to do it?
I mean, it took three of us to balance the books,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right. And how many meetings do we have? I think we had like 4 or 5 different meetings, right?
at
yeah.
least. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's more than an hour long.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Time we
because
spent like what 3 or 4 hours one time.
I think that's because we talk a lot. But, you
Yeah,
know, um,
Maybe
But
they got lucky.
yeah,
They got an accountant in the group.
but I couldn't believe it when she said, "Oh, we only met twice, and we did everything else on email."
Wow.
I'm like, "Wow, that." And then she said, "Yeah, it was a bit difficult, you know." And I'm like,
Okay.
"Well, yeah." And but I mean, the funny thing is that she sent me a message at first to ask me some questions, and I answered her like I don't have anything else to do, so I was online, and she I answered her like 10 minutes later, and then it took her like a day and a half to get back to me. So I figured, okay, she's one of those kinds of people.
Mm.
But maybe we're just used to, I mean, doing projects. I don't know, like um,
Mm.
some people don't do group. But how can you not? How can you be in business and not do group projects? Everything's a group project.
I think, and all of us work in our multi time zone, you know, um,
True.
job, right? Our job requires to be talking to people outside of your own country.
Mm.
So that is kind of like in our maybe
DNA.
like a habit kind of like talk to people all the time, right? Whether they reply uh, instantly or not, but just throw your questions out there, and you know someone will pick it up and answer and have carry a conversation. So I think
Mm.
that's probably the reason we enjoyed having a meeting, and then also we enjoyed talking
Hmm.
on I don't know.
I actually
And we
think that. Oh, sorry, Phil.
no.
Go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I actually think that we are pretty good, like project managers, because I mean we are in our own kind of fields. But like for example, Phil, you're doing a podcast, you're editing videos and all that. But I see it as a work stream that you are your own project manager.
Mm.
And then for Natsumi, you're a digital manager. So, you're essentially managing your own work. And then when it comes to project work for us, right, we're just managing with our skill set. So we're pretty good project managers, I would say, like all three of us.
And I think, like you said, with this go with the flow, none of us had to have our way,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
That's important. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all of these things, we were quite lucky, I think,
Mm,
because it's not like we really knew each other before, you
mm,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that's pretty lucky. But I do feel sorry for some people. What I was reading, but I think I shouldn't feel sorry for them because it's all about being proactive, right? We were proactive.
Yeah.
So if I had to ask that question, like I wrote down, what did you feel like you learned? Did you think that you learned anything about accounting from this project?
I think it's really, whatever I learned from the smart cases or the
Hmm.
chapters that we have online, right? I learned whatever from there, and then it was like a validation for me to have a conversation with you guys, right? Creating the ledgers and things like that. It was really the validation talking to you to understand whether my understanding is correct or not, right? And then did I miss anything, right? From the webinars or from any, courses we had. So yeah, I would say it's just a validation working on this project.
Hmm.
Mm.
What about yours?
Mm. Interestingly, because when I was in uni, I did accounting long time ago, but it didn't felt easy at all. It as a young university student, you're touching on things like this with no proper world knowledge. So I think at that point of time, it felt really, it was a bad moment, I would say. But when I looked at the notes and what Quantic actually offered in terms of the very awesome like learning portal. They had the prompts. For me, it was the prompts. Those prompts that come up when I'm answering the questions, and if I'm wrong, they would actually have the the prompts to tell me why I'm wrong, And then that led to me understanding how to address some of the thoughts that I had. And then when I applied it on the use case, the business case, I thought that it was, while we are reading through this long essay that felt more literary than anything else, I felt that, hey, I actually could apply whatever I learned on this thing, and I could actually pick out the numbers. So in fact, I felt that accounting right after this was really, really easy. So it wasn't something that was, a rock in my heart or that kind of thing. But I thought I learned that accounting was actually very easy. It's a structure. You
Yeah.
basically just follow the structure, put it left, put it right, and then after that, um, you just apply it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, I think that's interesting because I think for me it was a combination of the two of you, what you said. Natsumi's your point that's interesting is you said, like, it was a validation because we sat down and we talked about it.
Mm,
Like, that was the important thing for me, I think, was us, that day we spent trying to balance, for the book, that in talking through the things, I went, okay, yes, it was a validation of what I learned when I went through the smart cases. Okay, if I step back and I say, okay, with my business, actually, I do the accounting, right, for my business in real life, and I just kind of do that very badly. I always thought it very badly. I don't understand it, whatever. But when I went through the smart cases, I went, oh my god, I actually know. So I did the accounting modules like in one sitting kind of thing. I went through all of them mostly, and I was like, oh my god, I actually know it. And then when we did the project, I was the same, like what Ruth said. I read that thing and I went, oh my god, I can apply this.
mm,
So like the whole thing was a validation for me because I always very insecure about what I know and don't know, and I thought I don't really know accounting, and then I realized I don't know some of the terminology, and I think that's because I've never studied it. But once I learned the terminology, then I realized, okay, it's not so difficult, you know.
yeah.
I think people have a huge fear of it, but people have this weird fear of numbers anyway, like which I don't quite understand. But some people are just afraid. Oh my God, it's math or whatever.
They probably have a flair for the literary side of things. Yeah.
I
Probably.
guess.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I think it was. So maybe I would say that I didn't necessarily from the project learn anything about accounting,
Mm,
but I reinforced what I learned from the smart cases, which I think if I was a quantic person watching this, that's like the best possible result, right? Is that the smart
Yeah.
cases taught us something and the project reinforced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned about myself, to be very honest. I didn't know that I would have a change of heart for accounting, to be very honest. I was like, oh my goodness, accounting.
Yeah.
And I went in and then I realized, oh, okay, I can do this. The
Yeah.
prompts
Yeah.
made it easier. Yeah.
I think it's good that, accounting was our first concentration, right? In this EMBA.
Yeah.
Um, I I I'm not good with numbers. I know how to spend money, but I don't know how to manage money or track the money I spend.
Which,
But yeah, so it really helped me to understand, from the company perspective. So yeah, it was fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I would say that. Yeah. It was, I'm glad we did that project. I'm glad we didn't do the other one.
Oh,
Um,
I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
about the other one though. Yeah, I didn't attempt to even read it, to be
yeah.
very honest. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know how many people did the other project.
No, I don't know. I didn't look through, but I know
Yeah.
I did get messages from two people who their group had spent 1 week doing the other one and then they switched.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm, okay, fair
Um,
enough.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I think the only thing I'm I'm not disappointed. I don't even know how to phrase it, but that webinar, Dr. Michael's last webinar, he basically did all the work for you. Like
Yeah.
he gave it to you, you know. And that pissed me off a little bit because it was like, we spent a week trying to figure all this stuff out, and then he just came along and told everybody. And so there's a little bit, I'm not that a competitive a person, I thought, but I was a little bit like, you know what, we figured that out by ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he gave us all the answers, but I guess it goes back to who's gonna watch the recording or the webinar, right? Because I've seen so many people who hasn't really
Yeah.
read the FAQs or, even the instructions to start the project, right? So, I mean, definitely you will pass the exam if you watch the recording or the
Yes.
attended the webinar, right?
I would love to know the numbers, see the numbers after, like how many, like, because if you watch that, if you read the document, read the FAQ, and watch the webinar, I honestly think it's impossible for you to fail. You have to be pretty stupid, I think, to fail. But I think you're right. I think people won't watch the webinar. And I think there are people who don't read the FAQ.
Yeah.
So I
About
guess.
it, we had people asking about project one day before the due.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I laughed out loud when I was downstairs on the phone, and I actually laughed out loud when somebody asked, like, there was the two ones, right? Like, but yeah, so I mean, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about people, I think, from this one,
Definitely.
and I learned a lot about my cohort. I probably shouldn't say it. I have to edit all this out of the video, probably. Yeah. No, it was good. I enjoyed it. And you guys I felt, honestly, I felt like we should just do the rest of the MBA together. That's kind of the way I felt. But, we can't do that. So,
Oh, we
but
can't.
no, we have to do some things on our
We have to
own.
do it. Yeah, yeah.
But
maybe
I mean, what's the definition of on your own in Quantic? Because everyone's handing out the answers in Slack anyway.
Exactly. That was what I was thinking about. Ah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we work good together. So I would work with you guys again, I hope, if we can. But we'll see. You might find somebody better than me. I don't know. There you go.
We will. We will regroup again. I'm sure. Very sure.
So, all right. Well, I don't. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Okay, you're back. So thanks for either watching the entire interview and then ending up here, or just skipping over and clicking the timestamp in the description. Let's talk about some takeaways from that little chat so that you can ace the accounting exam as well, or accounting project, sorry. First thing, find a group early. And find a group early, preferably of people that you get along with. With me, it was totally by luck. Now, I think, Ruth and Natsumi, they knew each other a tiny little bit, but we're all, of course, complete strangers to each other. So that was lucky. But find a group early. And I mean early. We know we're going to do this project right from the get-go. So, as we said in the interview, 2 or 3 weeks in to the semester, we found our group even before we even knew what the project was. That leads on to the next part. Once you find your group, once you get that instruction set, I think it's called the rubric or something like that, look at it and decide, because you have an option of 2 different ones, decide which one you're going to do. Third is be organized. I'm crap at organization. These 2 ladies are great at it, so that's why we work together well as a team. Next point, communicate a lot. Again, very lucky. I think the 3 of us like to chat quite a bit, so we talked a lot, like several times a week, and on video chat, and then in Slack as well. We had our own little private Slack group. So during the 2 or 3 weeks that we were doing the project, we were chatting a lot, daily. Next point is use those chats to explain to each other the accounting work that you're doing. I found, and I know Natsumi found as well, and I'm pretty sure Ruth found as well, that talking it out, helped us cement the ideas in our brain. Don't overthink the project. It's not really that difficult. There's lots of resources out there. As we said, that's one of the big challenges. Lots of resources. Use those. Don't try and fool yourself or trick yourself. Just do the project. I think if you follow those things, if you read the rubric, read the FAQ, watch the webinars that Quantic provides, you will ace it. So I'm saying that now. I don't know if we aced it. I'm hoping we did. Stick around. More videos, like, subscribe, bell notification. And I'm going to have another interview, or the more of this interview with these wonderful ladies. And there'll be more interviews coming up. And of course, I'll be doing single following my journey things. Lots of exciting stuff here on this channel, on this playlist, on this podcast. See you soon. Thanks for watching.